it's regarding, I mean, we were just introducing ourselves before we start the session today.
All right.
So, yeah, and the mainly with regard to the kind of work that you are involved in, so that everybody can get to know what others are doing.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Right. So I'm mainly working with NLP related things and some predictive models. Uh, uh, One of the research work I'm working on is text classification. Actually, their main focus is how to make it human interpretable. Maybe most of the machine learning models are black box type. Let's say, as example, a neural network, support vector machine. Most of the things are black box type. So then nowadays there is a huge concern. If we can't explain how system is predicting or giving the output, it can't accept, like especially when it comes to court orders and so on, right? So then interpretability is important. So then what I'm doing actually, when come to text classification or document clustering related thing, so how to make it human interpretable, that's one of the main thing I am working on. In addition to that, I'm working on genetic algorithm based machine learning algorithms and comparing with AI and neural network and support vector machine and decision tree algorithms. Uh, so those are the some of the uh, research work I am currently doing. In addition to that, I am doing few projects related to singular text classification. So then developing schema, integrating those things into Lucene framework. Lucene framework is one of the full text search engine, open source one, and the Wikipedia and things runs on Lucene framework. So I'm already actually integrated single into Lucene framework. So improving some of the algorithms there. That kind of research actually I'm doing related to NLP and machine learning, and yeah, related to this topic. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thanks. Mr. Saman, would you like to introduce yourself to the group?
Okay, I'm Saman Gunawardhan. I'm the industrial placement manager at Faculty of Computing. My research interest area is actually ontology. I'm trying to devise a methodology of converting requirement gathering phase immediately into test cases for the QAs to test, or the client business test cases. So using ontology, that's my research interest area. Thank you.
Right, thanks. Mr. Madhav Herat, I'm just going by the list that I can see on the screen.
Hi, I'm Madhav Herat, attached to engineering faculty. So my basic interest is consumer energy management with machine learning and deep machine learning. So we are working with sort of like disaggregating kind of work, and also to optimize the consumer energy usage through some of the machine learning approach.
Right, thanks. Miss Ishani Fernando.
Hello, I'm Ishani. So I'm attached to Maths unit. I haven't done anything on machine learning and AI, but I'm interested in learning that. So that's why I joined the meeting.
Okay, thanks. Mr. Udara Samarthunga.
Hello, I'm Udara Samarathunga. So I'm attached to the Department of Computer Science and Software Engineering. So I'm doing research most probably in the areas like semantic web ontology construction and natural language processing and related areas. So currently I have supervised many undergraduate research students, different disciplines.
Okay, thanks. I can see Dr. Nuwan Kodagod as well. So I think he's the one who actually pushed us to start this group. So maybe you can share your thoughts.
Yes, thanks, Darshana. So it's great to see a lot of participants. So basically, like I have, when it comes to machine learning and deep learning, my main interests are in vision. I have done some work related to vision, but I'm more generally looking at other aspects, as you say, as I think you all know, like machine learning and deep learning can be used for almost any application. So I'm in the lookout for various applications of deep learning and machine learning, but primarily I have done some work related to vision. Thanks, Darshana.
Okay, thanks. Miss Hansi Mayadunne. Hansi, can you hear me? Okay, maybe she's busy. Let me go to another person. Pubudu. Mr. Pubudu Nallaperuma. Are you there?
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Hello, sir. I am Pubudu. I am instructor at Faculty of Computing, Department of IT, and my research area is user experience and security. But I didn't do that machine learning stuff, and I like to learn about that. That's all.
Right. Vijani. So I think Vijani has started recording it. Thanks, Vijani. Yeah. Maybe you can share. Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Vishani, attached to IT department as an assistant lecturer. So I would like to join with this group because my main research area is natural language processing. So I can join with many research opportunities with this group, and I can help with my knowledge, and I can work with all together. So, yeah.
Okay, thanks. Miss Manori Gamage, are you there?
Hello.
Yeah.
I've been mainly involved in e-learning and doing HCI research, but I've not done yet anything related to AI.
Right. Kalpani.
Hello, everyone. I'm attached to the Computer Science and Software Engineering department. Though my main research area is into learning technologies, I'm interested in knowing about the collaborations that we can have as interdisciplinary between machine learning and e-learning aspects. So that's why I'm participating in these group discussions to seek for more collaborations and to improve my knowledge on these regards.
Yeah, actually, Dr. Kalpani Manatunga, I think, rejoined recently to SLIIT. So I think some of you may not have met her before. So I think, thanks, Kalpani.
Thank you.
And Miss Geetanjali, are you there?
Yeah, I'm attached to Computer Science and Software Engineering department. Actually, I'm nowadays just the research on like when there are different types of data is generated, say big data, you get data from social media, sensors, and other devices. So finding a method to aggregate this data or to fuse this data and to do situation modeling by using a human cognition module. So I'm just reading for it at the moment.
Right. Thank you. Dr. Pradeepa, are you there?
Hello, Darshan. Yes, I'm Pradeepa Samarsingh from Information Technology Department. Actually, I have been involved in many projects. The most recent one is with the World Bank funded project. That is, we are developing a culturally sensitive autism assessment tool. There mostly we'll be using deep learning techniques. We are currently working on emotion recognition through deep learning, and there is a speech module, speech research as well. Professor Collier is leading that. So there's much work on this deep learning techniques in this project. So if you are willing to join, there is a lot of opportunity. I would like to invite any of you who would like to work on computer vision and deep learning to join the research group. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. So that's one of the objectives that we had to like enable some collaboration, because I think there are many people working on silos on their own projects, but since there's not much collaboration going on, maybe we can use this as a platform to encourage some collaborations. Yeah, thank you. Dr. Sham Real. So let me introduce him. Before he introduces himself, he joined, I think, recently to SLIIT, and he's a expert in HCI, human computer interaction. So, Sham, why don't you give some background about
Hello,
yourself? Yeah.
can you hear me, Darshana?
Yeah.
All right. So, thank you for the introduction. I am from the Department of IT, and my PhD is in human-computer interaction. There were parts of my PhD which is related to NLP as well, because I was doing improving the human-computer interaction and the experience, the user experience when people enter text on mobile devices. So that is using the speech modality as well as the text modality. So that involves natural language processing, usability, user interface, and user experience. So that is my research interest mainly. I am here because I feel that collaborating with machine learning is become a basic necessity now. It is, for example, now every time I get a request from a student group for a project, HCI project, there is also a machine learning component. And if I get a request for MPhil idea from a student for HCI project, there's a machine learning component. So machine learning has become sort of a commodity now. It is just like every project has a coding component. There's a machine learning component. It has become as a basic necessity as much as having a programming element now. So that is why I'm here. I want to learn more about the machine learning, more about the field, more about the projects that are happening in SLIIT, and see where I can collaborate with that if there are any overlaps with machine learning and human-computer interaction. Yeah, that's me. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Jagat, Mr. Jagat Vikramatna is there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm Jagat, and I'm from Computer Science and Software Engineering Department. My main research interests are human-computer interaction and user experience. So, like Dr. Sham mentioned, most of our research, HCI research projects are having related machine learning component nowadays. Like software is having an interface. Like most of our student projects are having machine learning components. So I like to know more about machine learning. I'm new to the machine learning, but I like to get involved with this machine learning and know more about machine learning. Then I can give good feedback for our undergraduate projects. That's why I joined with this. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Disney, Miss Disney Sriyaratna, are you there?
Hello everyone.
Yeah.
I'm a lecturer from Computer Science and Software Engineering Department. I'm interested in machine learning, mobile computing, and HCI related researches. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Tusitanjana.
Hello everyone, I'm Tusitanjana Tilakaratna, and I'm attached to the Computer Science and Software Engineering Department. I am fairly new to research and I'm interested in machine learning. That's why I'm here. Thank you.
Thanks.
Darshana, there's someone from outside, the CIPM participant. I'm not sure who that is.
Yeah, CIPM participant. You can introduce yourself. Maybe.
I don't think they see themselves as CIPM participants, so they probably are CIPM participants.
Yeah. Karshika, I think she didn't introduce herself. Yeah.
I'm Darshika, attached to the IT department. So my research also regarding the machine learning. So I wish to know, as we are in the academic field, better to know about the each and every field. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Dulani, Miss Dulani Maheshika.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dulani Maheshika regarding to the Faculty of Computing. I'm very interested about AI. That's why I am joined to this group. That's
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone who would like to introduce? Because sorry, I had to call out names because I couldn't figure out a better way to do that. So, is there anyone else who couldn't introduce themselves and would like to do that? You can just speak up.
Hello everyone.
Yeah.
Sorry, completely I missed my introduction.
All right.
Yeah,
Is
I'm
that
Hansi.
Hansi?
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, I'm Hansi Mayadurna, attached to IT department. I'm doing my MPhil and I currently is mainly focused in machine learning. That's why I'm joining.
Right. Okay. Thank you. So one reason to introduce ourselves was to like see whether there are any like-minded like people working on the same similar areas. And I think generally it's better to get to know what others are doing. So I guess we'll move on to the topic then before we discuss anything else, because I think we have spent some time. So maybe Prasan, you can start with the presentation. And so Prasan is a lecturer attached to Department of Software Engineering, and he has done quite a like several publications in this area on sentiment analysis, which is a subtopic or sub area in machine learning, particularly related to text analysis. So, and I think there are many applications of that, and there may be some even theoretical work that can be done on that. So I kindly invite Prasan to uh, deliver his talk, and we can maybe have a Q&A session afterwards.
I'll share my screen. Hope everyone can see the screen.
We can see that. Yeah, it's okay.
Right. So again, good afternoon and thanks for joining for this discussion. So today we were planning of delivering some things on sentiment analysis. So this was the very project that I was working with sentiment analysis. Actually, it was in the second year of my BSc degree, and in 2011 I started working on this. It was a kind of a project that I was assigned to conduct this research with SLT. So in SLT they have a call center at the moment, and it was very kind of a very small unit at that period. But now I guess it has been expanded, and they have a kind of like more employees are working on. So the kind of the requirement was like they in the call center they're kind of doing various stuffs like mainly they are kind of they are the people who are kind of calling the customers to their houses and checking whether if they are kind of satisfied with their services. So let's say as an example, let's say if your phone has been broken and let's say a technical team has been dispatched to your house, and after fixing the line, and most probably you will be receiving kind of a call. This may be maybe for most of you people maybe this kind of like very rare scenario, but they are selecting 60 customers at that period out of their total kind of breakdowns, and they are kind of calling those houses and to check regarding the feedback. So like they're asking 8 to 10
questionnaire. So most of them, I mean, 4 to 5 questions are kind of direct, straightforward yes or no answer type questions. But for 3 to 4 questions, like they are expecting detailed explanations, like they asking something, if you, madam, so if you are kind of satisfied with our service and explain. So that's where you are getting not a yes or no answer, but a detailed answer. So based on this questionnaire and based on the customer's feedback, they are eventually kind of analyzing this particular employees. That's how they are kind of deal with the, I mean, employee satisfaction, and also that's kind of the model that they are using in terms of rating their employees. So actually, at that moment, it is not a kind of computational kind of driven approach. They are just checking the customer's answers, and they are just assigning some numbers or scores, and eventually they are adding the scores and rating their employees. So it's very biased system. So that's why they needed to have a kind of a system to kind of calculate this customer's text. So that's the kind of a brief story about this project. So anyway, the kind of underlying research area was the sentiment analysis. So first of all, regarding the sentiment analysis, it's all about kind of using kind of like measuring the perception of human. So it's all about like using NLP tools, so text analysis, and also techniques in computational linguistics to identify and the extractive information, more or less the subjective information in materials. So nowadays, most of these techniques have been driven using deep learning and machine learning. That's why most of the sentiment analysis processes and practices have been underlined with machine learning and deep learning. So again, some of the things in sentiment analysis. So it's all about like so in initial steps in I mean in back in 2011 to 2010, they are kind of mainly introduced this as opinion mining. So more or less it's like so in various aspects in the society, this is very important. Like the scientists may be very interested on what is happening. I mean, what's the general demand of the public, and also nowadays as well, politicians are very much interested on what is happening on the media, and also what is happening with the people's perception. So, and also again, all the countries, they are interested on what is happening in their in other countries represent their actions. So likewise, it's all about this. That's the power of these opinions. So opinion, I mean, it can change entirely different, entirely drastically changes could be done. I mean, with the change of these perceptions or the opinion. So that's the kind of the demand at that period was also, and still this demand is valid. So if you take two examples like this, so he is a good technician, and the second one is he is very good technician. So in there, I mean, if you examine the first sentence, by drilling down to the sentence, naturally you can determine there's a positive vibe for the first one because it is attached with the good word. So in every case of this opinion mining or sentiment analysis, there are two aspects can be described. One is the polarity and one is the scoring. So polarity in the sense that is what you are perceiving as good or bad. So scoring in the sense you are measuring in terms of numerically how far this positive or the negative can go on with the scale of the numerical representation. So that's the two part. So at that moment in back in 2010 to 2011, it was kind of a very early stage of sentiment scoring, but polarity is anyway there. So so our target was like so there were there was a team. So our target was like to measure this kind of the in terms of numerical perception. Our target was like to derive the sentiment scope for a given particular bag of words or given a sentence or a paragraph. So likewise, again, I am going through these two sentences. What is the first one is the he is a good technician. The other one is he is very good technician. So there, I mean, naturally, anyone can agree that the second sentence has more kind of gravity than the first one in terms of the positive side, because the adverb very is attached to the second one. So good is kind of like in terms of if you are considering in terms of scoring or sentiment scoring, eventually the second part or the second sentence will be having much score than the first one. But in again, I'm kind of comparing this approach with what we kind of experienced in 2011. So back in 2011, so now I'm sharing a PDF. Can you see that?
Yes, Prasad. But no, this is actually the PowerPoint still.
Still PowerPoint,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll share again. I hope now the PDF is visible.
Yeah.
Right. So this one, this opinion analysis in document databases, simply it was named as OASIS at that period in 2011. So this was the very first approach of sentiment scoring. So these authors, they came up with a kind of an architecture for the sentiment scoring, and that was the very first approach that they have taken in terms of deriving this sentiment scoring. So this we use this as the foundation, and I'm kind of going down to show you what they have done in their approach. So they were like they were introducing some algorithms in terms of deriving the sentiment scoring. So very first one is this one. So this is kind of more or less more than algorithm, this kind of a expression. So in this expression, they are kind of deriving the kind of the degree of the considerable amount of opinion generated words in a given sentence or a paragraph. So in terms of, they are kind of getting a ratio. So let's say if you take the word good, so it is kind of generating a sentiment, and there you are measuring this ratio now in the first part in the upper section. So you are getting the the particular opinion generated word and its synonyms in that context, and you are kind of getting the whole bunch of opinion generated words as the ratio, and you are getting the kind of the expression. So at that moment, so in their research, it's clearly explained as they are tackling only with the adjectives in the given context. So if I go back to the two sentences again, so he is a good technician and he is very good technician. If you consider these two sentences, I mean, if you calculate the sentiment score by using their algorithm, you are ended up in getting same for these two, because they are only considering the adjectives in the given context. So that's what we understood from their approach, because this is the very early approach that they undertaken, and it was the pioneer approach, and they were only considering the adjectives. because adjectives were considered as the the most opinion expressive category in the parts of speech. So at that moment also, in nowadays also, mostly adjectives will be determining the sentiment scoring in a given context. But that doesn't mean the other parts of speech can't impact on anything. So that's what our kind of logic was at that period. And so our team, we thought of like using a kind of adverb adjective approach. So if you search for adverb adjective approach in the um, even now, so you will be getting so many approaches, so many research papers, and so many solutions. But if you go until their research work, and if you read upon this their publications, and still they are kind of determining this sentiment scoring based on only adjectives. So nothing much has been done. So that's we thought of like introducing novel set of algorithms in terms of calculating both, in terms of calculating the sentiment scoring, considering kind of adverb adjective combined approach. So that's what actually we did at that period in 2011. So again, I'm going down a little bit to their approach to explain some of the more important things in machine learning at that period even. So they are in their approach, they were kind of introducing 3 machine learning algorithms, specific algorithms to their approach. So one is the topic focused. So nowadays you may be using TF-IDF, which is more or less identical to this topic focused algorithm. So in that algorithm also, they were kind of like measuring the direct and indirect opinion expressive words in a given context. And even the function was given. And there is another one called this distance weighted TF algorithm. So there, what is happening is like you are not considering all the opinion expressive words or the jargons in the given context, but instead of that, you are kind of assigning an initial score, only considering the adjectives in the sentence or paragraph. So likewise, in there also, they have been given the their specific algorithm for that. So these are not like the machine learning algorithms that you can find for the TF-IDF, and even this distance weighted TF-IDF is also there at this moment even. But these functions, they are kind of these are kind of more or less customized versions for this approach. So that's what kind of boost up this specific research among these publications, any other publications. That's why I was kind of different times mentioning this. I would mention this as the pioneered approach in sentiment scoring. So again, there's another one called this hybrid evaluation. In there, again, they are considering both TF-IDF and distance weighted TF-IDF. So likewise, different algorithms they introduced, and they have tested their algorithms in the comments that they have kind of uh, taken from Twitter regarding this incident that was happened at the Abu Ghraib prison at that moment. So it was a kind of very very I would say it's like a corona incident at this moment. So the incident that happened in Abu Ghraib prison at that moment, at that particular period. So they have used specific Twitter messages and specific Twitter posts related to this, and also they extracted comments as well, and all these corpus regarding this news articles, topics, everything they have used to test their approach. So anyhow, at the end, they ended up in like building up a word net. So the idea is like their word net is kind of unique because they had a kind of a centi-word net, and in that word net, that was the pretty much initial word net that you may be using at even today. So I mean, not more than 25,000 words were there, but that was the kind of initial version. So from this, then I'm sharing what we have done in our approach. So if I go to that, so this was what we published at that moment. So they actually we targeted them more or less kind of a adverb adjective combined approach. So they are in terms of adjectives, we changed the same algorithm considering both the adjectives and adverbs in the corpus. So that was kind of the the novelty that we introduced at that moment. So basically, we followed the hybrid evaluation model that our pioneers introduced, because that hybrid evaluation model, or the method that evaluated in the precision and recall, they have the most precision in terms of accuracy. So that's why we ended up in using HEM, and also in there we introduced so in adverbs also there are different adverbs. Maybe what I have used here, the good tech, the technique, good technician, and the other part. I mean, there's a clear-cut increment in the sentiment scoring when you are kind of using this adverb. But there are situations where even even you introduce an adverb with an adjective, maybe the scoring won't change. So likewise, there's a situation where you have to capture what degree of what are the sets of different sets of adverbs that are very useful in terms of calculating the scoring. So that's why we ended up in identifying three basic categories as strong, weak, and doubt for this adverb. So in this paper, I have mentioned those types as well, and I'll share the paper with you so that you can go ahead with the other information as well. So that's what at that moment we did. So you can see like these are the basic centi-word net they introduced, and on top of our approach we managed to kind of have a different set of values, and even at that moment we communicated with the people who invented the first approach, the authors. We contacted him and them, and it's kind of collaborative work with them, and it was very kind of a very good experience to all of my group at that period in 2011. So if I go back to the presentation, so that's our approach, and that's what we did in terms of machine learning in calculating sentiment scoring. So yeah, we introduced mainly the word scoring and sentence level scoring. So anyway, the paragraph level means the aggregation of sentences. So first we had a adjective intensity approach, and then we added up the adverbs on top of the adjective, so that we introduced new approach called adverb adjective combined approach. So if I go to the another main aspect was like the evaluation part. So in the evaluation part, so what happens is like if I share, yes. So this one, if I quickly go back to the algorithm, so there it's mainly the dependent variables and the independent variables. So the dependent variable will be the k value. So depending on the k value, right here, so depending on this k value, the kind of the scope that you are generating and ended up in different sets. I mean, the score will be changed. So it's kind of like for different k values, we have to measure the accuracy. What's the kind of in which for which value of this k would determine the highest accuracy of this model. So for that we had to kind of determine if I share that one. So this is actually the prepared Excel sheet for that, in terms of determining in which k value it gives the best results or the highest accuracy level. So in when you for the word scoring, for the k value, when the k value becomes 0.4 or the 0.4, it gives the highest number of accuracy in precision at that moment. So at that moment they have been, I mean, SLT, they gave us different sets of audio files. So we had to convert it audio from audio to text, and the text file we use it for our testing purposes. So at that moment they are like they have given us like 10-year-old voice clips, because for the recent voice clips they didn't issue those things for us because of the sensitive information or the sensitive data of the customers. And for the sentence scoring, again we calculate the again the accuracy for the and they are also for the when the value k or the r. So here we mention it as r for the sentence scoring. So when it becomes 0.35, we ended up in getting the highest accuracy in precision. So that's what we did at that period. In our findings we were able to publish in IEEE conference at which was happened in India. So we traveled there and we presented, and also we grabbed the best paper award as well at that period. So the I mean not the best paper award, but the most important thing that we grabbed from out of this work is the collaboration between the people who invented these scoring functions, and we had the chance of kind of dealing with them very closely. So that's the even today that was I mean I will if anyone asks me what is the best thing that got out of this project, it's not the grade, it's not the best paper award, it's not the conference, but it's the collaboration between what we had I mean their communication, what we shared among each other, and their experience. That was the major thing. So so that's all. And if I share another thing regarding this machine learning and deep learning, so at that moment we thought of using deep learning as well back in 2011, but the problem was like at that moment in 2011 just Python 2.7 was there, 2.6 was there, sorry, and not specific Keras library was there in terms of having the TensorFlow support. So even though we could manage with the model, we won't be able to kind of have a solid kind of like what do you say, a train model as the end result. So that's why we didn't go for the maybe CNN or RNN in deep learning at that period, because one thing was like the fundamental was not introduced, most of the things, and also the high-end GPU was very expensive at that time. So both the reasons were taken us to machine learning, and that was the only project that we used machine learning techniques. Afterwards, we kind of introduced the next versions, like so here we introduced the adverb adjective combined approach. So the next year, 2012, we introduced adjective adverb verb, and then in 2014 we introduced the noun part as well. So likewise, we covered all the main parts of speech in sentiment scoring, and all the things were published, and now we are kind of dealing with some things in signal as well. So I will share some of the things in future. So any questions? And that's all from me.
Yeah, thanks, Prashant. So if anyone has any questions, now I know it's a fairly broad topic. So maybe anyway we'll be sharing. We'll create this Teams group and share the content there, I guess. So you can have a look if you want to get more details. But if you have any questions or clarifications to make, or if you have any related project ideas that you are planning to working on, currently working on, maybe you can of course contact Prasan offline, but you can ask now if you have any issues or questions.
Prasan, excellent presentation. Just one quick question, just to understand what you have done. So I think it's very nice to see how you have actually done this research from 2011 and how you have kind of progressed towards the years. Now, in the Excel sheet that you presented, are you actually predicting, or rather, when you do this machine learning, you kind of fine tune it and then come up with some model, right? So you mentioned like k equals 0.4 or something as the optimum set of values. Is that the output of the training that you did? Just to understand what you have done.
Yes, sir, it's actually the Pearson correlation coefficient calculations. So they are. Right. So it's kind of like we compared our kind of our algorithm versus the ones they have introduced in back in 2006. So that was the two set of Pearson correlation values, and we compared these two sets. So that was the end result of that Excel. So basically, yeah, it's the comparison of both the models.
Okay. Okay.
Right. So Prasan, when you are doing the evaluation, is there any particular in sentiment analysis so it's I suppose it's pretty similar to any supervised learning technique on how you do the measure the accuracy of a particular model, where you would look at a labeled set of sentiment scores and see what the algorithm predicts. Is that how you do that when you do the evaluations?
Yes, sir. For this machine learning, typically we use the same approach, since we had the labeled data at that moment even, and even the word net was also there. So anyway, we have kind of came up with a different novel word net, but the label data and everything was there. So based on those resources, yeah, we carried out the evaluation.
Right. And based on your opinion, I mean, if you look at the state of the art, what is the current situation? Are people still using the machine learning based approaches where you extract the adjectives and use some kind of a learning algorithm, or are people moving towards deep learning techniques without looking at the parts of speech? What do you see? I mean, in the literature of the current trend?
Yes, comparing with the current trend, now it's been improved in so many ways. So nowadays, now it's even not, we don't have to deal with the label data further, since we have so many deep learning techniques in terms of tackling. And what happens was, so this our research, they have, I mean, like we used previous approach. Um, I mean, after we published, after several years, one set of students from Philippines and set of students from China, as I remember, so they contacted us related to this, because we anyway conducted this research for the English language. So that's why, since the English was common, and they had a kind of idea of like using deep learning CNN techniques in terms of doing this business. So they kind of dealing with different things, different discussions with us. So they are also at that moment. I mean, they were kind of using so many improved. I would say so many kind of not dependable things. I mean, we were kind of depending so many label data, so many kind of not the state of the art at that period. Now there are so many resources, there are so many other, I mean, improved, I mean, levels of techniques in deep learning, especially. So that I think that's the state of the art now, sir.
And but still these like sort of traditional approaches still they are being used, I guess, right? It's
Yes,
not entirely
yes, not entirely. It's kind of now it's like more or less aggregative approaches, since now most of the time I have seen like the hidden Markov model is still, it's applying heavily with the deep learning techniques, kind of like to kind of where this in deep learning there are some problems in like in LSTM also, even though we are using bidirectional, I mean, considering back propagation and forward propagation, but still they are also using hidden Markov model in terms of having the predictions. So I think, yeah, still, I mean, the aggregative approaches are there and they are having the promising results. So.
Hi, Prasan, this is Madhava. So you said that you were basically looking into the English, but do we have any research published on the other languages as well?
Prasan, are you there?
Prasan?
Yes, sir, sorry. I was, what, I don't know what happened. Now I think, okay. Internet, the connection was dropped. Sorry.
Right.
Did you get the question?
No, no.
So basically, yeah.
Yeah, Prasan, this is Madhava. So I was thinking,
Yes, sir.
so you said that you have done this for English language, is it? So is
Yeah.
there any other research published on other languages as well?
For the Indic languages, they've been so you are asking related to my work, or
yes, your work, yeah.
Yeah. So in my work, sir, these days for the name entry recognition, I mean, kind of dealing with the approach. So for the singular, the model and the implementation already done, but still the publication is still pending. So it's on the way. So it's for singular, entire singular, and not only singular, it's entire for Indic languages. So for including Urdu, I mean, Indian languages. So it's supporting all the Indic languages, especially it's tackling with singular for the very first time. So
then, Prasan, do you see any relationship between, irrespective of the language, do you see like a maybe order of content, or maybe like a kind of different relationship between languages as far as you concern the sentiment analysis?
As in sentiment analysis, for this after kind of dealing with for seeing English, so then I kind of said like I temporarily stopped in working sentiment analysis in different languages. So, but for your question, for this nowadays I'm dealing with the name entity recognition, and they are in different. I'm dealing with the different languages, and especially in the Indic languages, they are. I have seen a pattern. So like when I'm kind of dealing with the boundary detection in name entities, there's a pattern in Indic languages, and that is also included in the paper as the one of the enhancements or the kind of findings. So that is I've seen that kind of kind of a pattern for this name entity boundaries in Indic languages. So, yeah.
So then is there any possibility for some like developing this to like a higher dimensional space and irrespective of the language to develop a common platform where anyone can use this?
Yes, I think it won't be a issue, but I guess for this type of work, probably deep learning approach should be there because entire totally machine learning won't be kind of applying for a universal kind of model, but for a deep learning model, yes. And I'm not sure regarding the set of regional languages, but for the Indic, yeah, at the moment I can say 100% sure. But for other languages as well, like Spanish, German, I would say there should be a pattern, yes.
Okay, thanks for the last. So what is what is kind of deep learning you're using for now? Is it like LSTM or maybe what kind of model?
Nowadays, CNN, RNN. In RNN also LSTM, yeah.
LSTM. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Is there any other clarifications or questions? So I think in this domain there may be a commercial potential as well, particularly with Sinhala. I don't think there's so with Sinhala. I guess one of the challenges is not having this part of speech tagging libraries, right? When you use this approach, I don't think in Sinhala there's a standard library part post tagging library which can identify the adjectives and so on. So that how do you like work around that when you're currently working with Sinhala?
Hello, Prasanth. Can you hear us?
Yes, sir. Yeah. So regarding the POS tagging, sir, that is still some problematic. But in identify the stop words, again, I would say it is kind of very problematic. But at the moment, I'm using the resources that have been published from Colombo University and University of Mortua Natural Language Processing Center. So they have a kind of of words which they have developed on these fulfilling these tasks. So at that moment, not a specific or constructive solutions for that, because in if you say in Python libraries in this POS tagging and NER tagging, so they have set of 19 language representations for POS tagging, but not any Indic languages they are even. So still it's a kind of a developing area, but I would say since these two, Colombo and Moroto, they are kind of dealing with some aspects, and I think we also can go ahead and have some kind of saved like a resource pool for that. Maybe one day maybe we can also those things may be very useful, I guess.
So if we directly use, I mean, if we just use deep learning, can't we just avoid that problem of not having enough supportive libraries like NLP libraries? Would that be a workaround?
Yeah, in LSTM, yeah, for some extent, yeah, we can go, but I tried for like Sinhala and English, both using by LSTM. So in English, even without POs tagging the libraries, when you are using by LSTM on top of CRF, so they have kind of accuracy of 99.99%. So in a Sinhala, it's like again, it's still somewhere around 30 and 47. So I would say still there's a room for development, but yeah, one day definitely we can I mean go into that level as well, I guess. It's not a I mean it's a can do thing, not a impossible thing.
Yeah, and I guess in general, if you look at the commercial potential now, I think there are some commercial sentiment analyzing APIs for English and I think some other languages. But if we had one for Sinhala, I think there would be a commercial potential as well because it's becoming I mean, it's the main language used in social media, and I guess all these marketing and companies and even during elections, people might be interested in using something like that. So I guess there's a commercial potential in that as well. Right. So yeah, if you have, so if anyone has any other like things to discuss with Prasanna, I think he'll be happy to. Yeah, is there?
I have actually one question actually for Prasanna. Prasanna, like you are talking about some tools where you use language-based search, right? I think it's Lucene or something, Apache tool. So they are like, do you have some kind of way in which you can do sentiment analysis, like in the sense like identify adjectives in Sinhala? You mentioned that you have done some contribution for Sinhala for text search in the Apache tool.
Sir, now Lucene, it's a like a database.
Right.
So it's we can store text there. So
right.
We can't expect anything else from Lucene framework. It's just full text indexing database. So
right.
Then on top of that, actually, they have some machine learning algorithms and NLP related many resources. Mainly that is to store. So then. Recently, they have added some classification algorithms for this framework. But I haven't seen they have sentimental analytics related things there. They have only just some machine learning few algorithms there. And for Sinhala, of course, what I did actually, they don't support Sinhala. They have close to 20, 30. Most of the languages are there, but some regional languages and Sinhala was not there. So then I added some stop word list, stemming algorithm, and tokenizing algorithm, and so on to that, and compared with some existing the built-in algorithms. Actually, performance was not that good in that experiment because I mean compared to the existing algorithms in the Lucene framework, because when we take, let's say as example, tokenizing, so Sinhala and English both tokenize using spaces most of the time. So therefore even I added the algorithm for Sinhala, there is no much difference. That's what I'm telling. Like I added a stemming algorithm and try to check the accuracy, but still there are problems because of the stemming algorithm accuracy is not that good, because when come to Sinhala there are so many rules, not like English. So therefore stemming algorithm just accuracy point of view, if I talk about, let's say, built-in English algorithm, when that gives accuracy close to 90%, our one will be 89, somewhere like that, or sometimes just above the built-in algorithm accuracy. So there is no significant difference. So therefore, so then someone can like think, okay, what's the point of adding Sinhala into that? Can use built-in algorithms. But in case if someone is thinking, yes, wants to move forward with Sinhala specific algorithms, yes, that is there.
Thanks, Prasanna.
Right.
Yeah, before I forget, actually, I added a link to in the chat to add your name. So we'll try to create a Teams group based on today's like those who have participated. So then we can add all this material to that Teams group, and I think it will be easier to schedule meetings as well. So so I think if you have any more things to discuss regarding this topic, maybe Prasan will be happy to help. You can contact him offline. So there are a couple of people who joined halfway through, so you couldn't introduce themselves. So I'd like to, I'll just call out their names. Is Bhagyani there? So you can basically you can say a few words about whether you are currently working on machine learning or whether you are interested, and you know you are and where your background, academic background, and so on. Is Miss Bhagyani there? Bhagyani Chaturika? Maybe she's not available. Janani?
Lakmal is also here.
Yeah, Lakmal has. Yeah, Janani is leaving. Okay. Yeah, she left. Yeah. Okay, some people are already leaving.
Sashika is here. Sashika.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Sashika is there. Yeah. Yeah, Shashika, if you could like, because we have people from different departments and so on. So if you can just give a brief introduction on like how you are, what are your interests and so on.
Yeah, okay. Hi, my name is Shashika Loklina. So I'm from the computer systems engineering department. My basic background is on computer networks and information systems. But currently, I'm following the Master of Philosophy at SLIIT. My supervisor is Dr. Anuraj Jayakodi, and currently my topic is pattern recognition of body area network in optimization of individual routine care for heart patients. So there I need to look into machine learning, and that's why I thought of joining the group, as well as I have done a couple of projects with student groups in the area of machine learning. Yeah, so I think that will be enough. Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Yeah. Lakmal, are you there? Hello, Lakmal. Maybe he has gone now. Okay, so I think everybody introduce themselves. Yeah. So so just to remind again, please add your name to the Word file shared in the chat. And what we'll do is we'll create a Teams group, and then so Dr. Nohan has suggested to have a Excel sheet to share each person's profile, and like basically their research interests and all that. So please, I will create an Excel sheet so you can fill in the contents as well. And also I think it will be good if we can have a in the Teams group if we can have a place to share. If you are okay with that, you can share research topics as well. So maybe I'll share some topics that I'm interested in, and maybe if someone is interested in collaborating, then they can talk to me, and maybe anybody can do that. I mean, they can share their research topics. So we'll create a space for that. And Prasan, I forgot to ask one thing. So in this area, what are the like future research topics that you think that would be worthwhile doing, especially if someone is interested in doing a research, like pursuing a research topic in this area?
Prasan?
Hello.
Yeah.
Sir, I couldn't hear the questions. Sorry.
Yeah. So yeah, this is something that I couldn't ask. If like in your opinion, what are the topics that could be of interest for anyone? Like areas that are of relevance these days. If they are interested in doing a research in related to sentiment analysis.
So if it is on sentiment analysis, I would say the most of the main parts of speech, the noun, verb, adverb, adjectives, those four has already been kind of covered in many research aspects, and it is kind of they have, as you mentioned, there are already public APIs for that. So I would say if someone is kind of interested in doing something, so that in this end area, sentiment scoring, I would say like kind of it will be nice to experiment on the applicability of prepositions, conjunctions, interjections, the importance of those things, which are again parts of speech. The three set of non-main parts of speech in languages. So if someone kind of say like do analysis on the importance of prepositions in sentiment scoring, that will be a nice research area for even for English at this moment.
Yeah, even this area of aspect oriented sentiment analysis, right? Like when you have a text, so you say you may have a product review where like someone may say that the price is good, but the look and feel of the product is bad, so you have different aspects. I think even that we don't have anything, I think, commercially available API for that. Even Google sentiment analyzer, I don't think it covers aspects, right? I'm not sure. So I think there may be a commercial potential as well. But yeah, I think there is some work done, but maybe there are more things to be done in that area as well. Even in English, I guess. Yeah. Okay, so I think we can wind up for the day. So we have gone a bit behind the schedule. So is there any other suggestions like on what we can do in this group, and if you have any suggestions or ideas, you can suggest those before we wind up. So
Yes,
please.
and I think thanks for organizing this. I think this is a very good initiative, and I'm very happy to see staff from other faculties also joining. So we have some other active groups as well. For example, in the e-learning group, we have staff from the Faculty of Humanities and Sciences also involved with that. So I think this is a very good trend, and I think Darshana, like we can have a Teams group, and also maybe this can be a regular event. Like maybe we can have a couple of regular speeches or presentations done, and then the entire SLIIT community can get involved with machine learning. And as I think Shyam mentioned, like machine learning and deep learning is pervasive. Whatever project you do, you might use it. So it might be a very good opportunity for all of us researchers to get together and discuss on related topics that we are all interested in.
Yeah.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah.
I also have a suggestion. Can you present in future weeks some useful tools that we can quickly get up to speed with machine learning? Say if you are not a machine learning researcher by nature, like if you haven't done your degree or PhD in machine learning, but there are some toolkits where we can easily use, like TensorFlow, for example. If you can do some presentation, demo, workshop, something like that would be great.
Yeah.
I would like to request that also. Yeah, same.
Okay.
Same request from.
I think that it's a very good initiative to start this, so that we could collaborate. There is research going on in engineering faculty as well. So we could actually share our knowledge and expertise and make this a regular event anyway. Thanks a lot for organizing this.
So would someone like to volunteer to do a session next week on a technical topic? We'll try to have this workshop on a tool as well, but in addition, if someone would like to volunteer now itself, you are welcome to do so.
Actually, I have some resources, but I'm sorry I can't volunteer because I have 500 papers to mark. And,
yeah.
So,
you can. If someone is,
if there's someone to do, because I went to a couple of workshops in AI learning, and I have those resources and what they did. So all the presentations, so I can share with you. And
anyway, Shashika, it's better if you can share that. So once we create the teams,
I'll share. That's good.
And Prasan, if you can share any learning material or any courses like for sentiment analysis, so please do. I mean, definitely you can share the publications. But other than that, if someone is like trying to learn that that area, so I think if you can share any learning material, that will be great. So I guess, I guess so. We did cover everything, I hope. So we'll try to have it every 2 weeks on Wednesday. So Sham has requested it to be scheduled at 3:30, so we'll start 3:30 next time. So if there's so I guess we can wind up. Thanks everyone for joining this meeting, and I think it was a success. And Vijan, if you could please share the recorded link that I'll post it in the Teams group. Okay, thank you. So thanks a lot for joining, and see you next time.